You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Cabral Concept. Great to have you here today on this Friday review where we're going to be covering the best of the week. Excited to go over a couple book reviews today, two very different books, but both absolutely amazing. I'll be detailing some upcoming product reviews, things that I've been using for about the past month or two that I've given them enough time, and I want to now be able to give you a really qualified review on those. Talk about some exciting things we have going on over at Equilibrium Nutrition this week, as well as IHP. Bring you a brand new hair loss based treatment that can help to regrow your own natural hair. So this has been really being tested over the past year or two. I want to bring that to you. And then last but never least, we're going to be going over our lab results detail for the week. This is where I like to bring you a lab result that you can run, get the results that you are looking for, but also know how to read that lab on your own. I never want you to feel like you're held hostage to a particular doctor or practitioner or lab company, whatever it might be. Remember, the Cabral Concept is all about taking the power from every individual, whether it be your, medical doctor or your personal trainer or whoever it is. And again, it's not that they're bad people, but I simply want you to have a basis point for understanding the protocols, the information, or details that they're providing you. So I think that's the best thing, is that you don't have to be an expert, and I'm not asking you to become an expert in natural health or natural medicine. What I am saying is that this is something that you have to know. If you are a human being, you know that health is the only thing that matters, because without it, you really don't have anything else. If anybody's ever been sick or they've been injured, it's really all you can think about. And when it's all you can think about, it consumes you, which means you don't have a lot left in the rest of your life. Your job, your career, hard to do when you're completely exhausted and you have brain fog all the time. I've been there. Hard to exercise or enjoy even playing with your kids or grandkids when you have lower back pain that we talked about on yesterday's podcast. So we have to understand is that this body is meant to be kept in great shape, great physical, mental, spiritual, emotional-based shape, so that we can use it to get the most out of life. We can provide the most service to others. Remember, if you're sick, if you're tired, if you're upset, if you're depressed, if you're anxious, if you're overwhelmed, if you're in pain, you're not the best for others either. So you're not the best for yourself. You're not the best for others. That's why there's no harm, and there's also no reason to feel like you should feel guilty for taking care of yourself. It's one of the most selfless things you can do, is to take care of the vessel that's carrying you, which is not just a physical body, but it's carrying you, mind, body, spirit, through life. So, really, that's why I encourage you. Lose the weight if you're more than 15 pounds above your ideal weight. Get healthy. And if you're healthy, optimize your health to the highest level. Take things to that highest level, because when you do that, everything changes. Life gets better in every way possible. I'm so much happier now than I ever was 15, 20 years ago. I'm healthier, stronger, all of those things than I was 15, 20 years ago. So that's not supposed to happen as we age, but it can happen if we don't believe the dogma of the day, which teaches us it's all about entropy. it's all about the body breaking down. Oh, when you turn 30, this happens. When you turn 40, this happens. When you turn 50, this happens. When you turn 60, this definitely happens, right? It's like all of these things we're told are supposed to happen, but I can show you many examples of people in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s that I work with that are in absolute fantastic shape in both mind and body. Because you want both. You really do. You want your mind sharp. You want your body strong. Okay. So now that I went on that little unexpected rant, let's get into the show. So the first thing is this. The first one I just want to share with you before we get into my book reviews and some products that I have coming up for you, as well as the research on the hair loss, etc., is that this is essentially Christmas in July. At heart, I really am still just a kid. I'm a big kid, I guess. And I'm someone that my favorite holiday was always Christmas. It always was. Now you can insert any of your favorite Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, holidays. That's whatever you choose to celebrate is fantastic as well. That's great. We're going to celebrate all of those right now, halfway through the year. So, I can't wait to bring you in the next Motivation Monday or so. We're halfway through the year. I mean, that's a milestone. We need to look back, but I'm gonna talk about that on a Motivation and Mindset Monday of how we've done so far, right? We need to take a census of how we've done that first half. So here's the thing, though. I really do love this to celebrate the holidays. I love, an excuse for getting together, family and friends, and just the spirit and the festivus and all that. And I try to bring that to our work. So last holiday season, we did all sorts of different pop-ups and fun offers during the month of December. Well, instead of waiting one full year, because we don't do sales at Equilibrium Nutrition, we just don't. We offer bundled packages and we offer bulk buys and products, but we just don't do pop-up sales all the time. It's just not what we do. We like to get people samples of this and that and try this because it's so amazing, right? Like, this is what I want people to understand, is that how you can enhance your life. Supplements don't replace food, right? And food doesn't replace exercise, and exercise doesn't replace meditation. So we have to understand, nothing's meant to replace anything else. Everybody online today is this or nothing. You can't be, right? It's okay, well, I'm carnivore, so I can't even eat vegetables. You can't eat vegetables either? You couldn't have some meat and some veggies? No, that's not okay. Okay. All right. So I'm this, and so I can't do that. Well, that's the thing is, why do we draw all these lines in the sand? Because as we know, in life, the way to stay healthiest in both mind and body, that'll be the theme for today's show, I guess, is balance. And it is equilibrium. And it is understanding that when we get too lopsided in anything, exercise too much, too little, diet too much, too little, meaning too little calories or carbs, too high or too low, right? All of those things matter. It's about achieving equilibrium for your body. So what we try to do is provide people the best in the world of the highest quality nutritional supplements. And it's funny because I brought on one of the best in the world for regulatory and helping to make sure we are always using the best third-party certifiers, and we're switching over to basically all completely vegan-based supplements. And we're essentially there now, but we'll never be. We can't make, of course, our omega-3 fish oil from a vegan base, but we're finding a very good vegan-based quality. So they'll all be going that direction, and he's fantastic. Well, a lot of people didn't know this. We're working on the number one weight loss, metabolism, thermogenic-based product out there. It's over 6 months in the making. That's how long I spend on just the formulating, looking at the science, all of that. Well, he confirmed this is going to be the most expensive weight loss product on our end ever created. And it's simply because I went in and said, I'm unwilling to compromise. Here's what I want to do. These are the specific herbs I used overseas that nobody's using in India and Sri Lanka. This is what I want it to be. The best of functional medicine, the best of herbalism with Ayurvedic and traditional Chinese medicine. These are things they don't teach you in school. So for all the great doctors out there, MDs, NDs, chiros, osteopathic, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, you still can't learn this in school. You have to understand that. It's you'll do the majority of your learning after you graduate. So get a deep knowledge and education, but understand that it doesn't end there. And I see too many MDs less so with NDs and chiros, but I see too many MDs simply stop their learning after they graduate from medical school and do their residency. I know you're busy. Everybody's busy, but this is a call to continue going for additional certifications, additional study, additional specialty. Read at least one book a month. Most doctors that you speak with, I'll tell you right now, ask how many books they've read in the past year. I guarantee you it's maybe one. And it's sad. And it is. And I'm not coming down on medical doctors or anybody. I'm not coming down. This is the world we live in. Everybody's like that. It's not just MDs. But here's the thing. I just feel we owe it to the people we work with to continue to better ourselves so that we can be better for others. People may not agree with that. I understand that. It's just my personal viewpoint. It's not going to be everybody's. But anyway, that's how I look at things. It's also one more reason to say, like, we offer our products at Equilibrium Nutrition at already everyday low prices. That's it. We can't do sales all the time. We just can't. Like, we can never offer you half off a product. We just can't do that because there aren't those types of margins, as they say in the business. It doesn't work like that because we make super high quality, and it's expensive for us to make. So that's the way it is. But all of that to say, and it is a ranty kind of day, all of that to say that we are offering everything in the store at equilibriumnutrition.com for basically 10 days total, wherever you're coming into this podcast, for up to 35% off. And every lab and every product in the store is at least 10% off. This is an amazing savings. That means you're getting labs that we pay for, right, from the lab, because they're not our labs. We pay for them. We're offering 10% off. So that is my way of just saying, like, don't wait. We don't do sales, but don't wait until the holidays. Don't wait until December. Take advantage of it now. Get the lab that you've been looking to do, the foundational protocol level 1, 2, or 3, which is what people in our community maintain with on a daily basis. Do something like the CBO protocol, the parasite protocol, the heavy metal detox, right? Get that deep sleep protocol or thyroid or adrenal-based nutritional supplements you're looking for. Whatever you were looking for, I can't recommend it enough. So anyway, I use the products myself. That's why I'm excited about it. I'm always excited. I listen to my team and I say, hey, can we do this? Can we do this? And they either say yes or no because they handle the financials of the company. They handle the different downs for the products for the sales. And so I just thought it was really amazing what they put together. And this is huge, absolutely huge. So that's running from yesterday through this coming week while supplies last for each product. We only have so many labs that we're giving away. All right, next up, because I could talk about that all day, we are moving on to IHP. This will be a quick one, but it's super important to me. This is going to be the last time for at least 2 months that we open up the Integrative Health Practitioner Program. So we're going to be reopening maybe in September. We don't have a date yet. We are not opening again in all of July, all of August, and potentially all of September. So we're offering 100 spots again, and that is it. And that's how we do it. We offer 100 openings. We invite 100 new people, students, into our community, and we basically bring them in. We do live Q&As, and if anyone signs up it opens on Monday, but if you sign up on Monday, I actually am holding my monthly Q&A on Tuesday. So you'll be able to join me live in our Facebook group. It's a private Facebook group for level 1 and in the whole community. And then there's a separate one for level 2. And I answer your questions. Like, literally, you fire questions at me, and I personally answer your questions. It's a lot of fun. We do that every month. The curriculum is learn at your own pace. There's the coursework, which is literally for anybody who wants to really become the healer in their home, to really figure out their own health as well as help those that they love. Level 1 is a certification for those people that are thinking about becoming a part-time health coach or full-time. And then, which is based on the de-stress protocol, diet, exercise, stress reduction, toxin removal, rest, basically the parasympathetic nervous system, emotional balance, supplement protocols that I use in my practice, not kind of like it, but the exact ones, and then success mindset. It's a deep dive. It is 40 hours of me teaching you on video. Again, learn at your own pace, go at your own pace. And then level 2 is literally showing you how to read functional medicine lab tests. It's the highest level out there, and we're excited because our very first IHP Level 2 graduates have been coming out over this past week or so. Exciting times in the Integrative Health Practitioner Institute, and we are not even 1 year old. So pretty exciting. I do hope that you check that out. That's integrativehealthpractitioner.org. And all of today's show notes will be at stephencabral.com/1253. Integrative Health Practitioner program opens up on Monday. Type in your email address at the little get notified button at integrativehealthpractitioner.org. You'll be the first to know. First 100 openings are available starting Monday. All right, let's get into my book reviews for this podcast. Okay, two very different books today. The first one is more practitioner-based, or those people who love to do deep dives into the science of functional medicine and individual biochemistry. So this is a little bit more towards bioregulatory medicine. It was written by Nicholas J. Gonzalez, and Nicholas Gonzalez, he's got a great story. So ended up becoming a medical doctor and helping people with cancer in the state of New York. People would travel from all over to see him. And he did bioindividualized programs. He used a lot of proteolytic enzymes. And, his work obviously still lives on. But again, not a lot of people necessarily knew about him. He did pass away a few years ago. His predecessor, where he was actually a journalist. So he's kind of an investigative journalist. And he goes and interviews this guy, I guess that's not doing him credit, but this doctor, Dr. Donald William Kelly. And Donald William Kelly came up with, or is it William Donald Kelly? No, it's William Donald Kelly. Always difficult when you have three first names as a name. So, but William Donald Kelly was a great doctor. He was actually an orthodontist by training. And it's funny because a lot of the outliers in our industry are those people that never went to medical school. So oftentimes they're chiropractors, or they are a traditional naturopath, or a dentist. Think of all the people, Weston Price, and we just have William Donald Kelly here. We've got Dr. Bernard Jansen, who's one of my favorite to study. We have Dr. Bragg, and another great one I love to study is Dr. Shanker as well. So we've got a lot of great people in this industry with so much knowledge to look from. So that's why I always, I'll keep that open mind, and I say, okay, who's doing great things right now? Sometimes even it just might be, again, an investigative journalist. And then just in Dr. Gonzalez's case, it ended up going back to medical school to carry on William Donald Kelly's work after he passed away. So here's what I want to tell you about this book. It's called Nutrition in the Autonomic Nervous System. A lot of people mistake diet as this one thing that everyone's supposed to follow, right? As we get caught in these traps like keto for everyone, carnivore for everyone, low carb for everyone, high fat for everyone, meat for everyone. It's just, you have to understand is that if you truly study the Ayurvedic doshas, not, just at the surface level, but really study it, or even the TCM body types, and you begin to look at nutritional biochemistry, you'll see that different people need different amounts of certain macros, as well as even certain micros, like B vitamins, magnesium, zinc, etc. And Nutrition of the Mind is another great one by Dr. George Watson. So all these amazing doctors, I love going back and studying their work, and they were all in like the 1800s, late 1800s, early 1900s, when your ability to practice and study in a different way was far more open, right? So kind of that was the beginning of great chiropractic, and it was definitely the natural hygienists were there, and you had homeopaths there, and then you had the kind of burgeoning of medical doctors, but they were more open to try different things as well, right? You can just look at the Merck manual and see how they use things like, believe it or not, coffee enemas, right? Coffee enemas were in the Merck manual up until the 70s. Now, if you ever told the doctor you're doing a coffee enema, they would look at you like you had three heads. But they obviously did not read the Merck manual before the 1970s, right? Other things like turpentine were in there. So I just want to be careful what we, call, fake today was something that was very widely used and successfully in the past. So this book is a great book if you want to learn more about the autonomic nervous system and how it functions with certain nutrients. More in depth, a little bit more higher level, but great for someone looking at that level. Now, the other book I wanted to bring you today, equally as impressive, but could not be more different, that's for sure. And it just shows you the eclectic nature of my, interest. Like it really is. I would get so bored, and you could probably tell that about me, by now, listen to maybe a couple hundred or a couple thousand podcasts, is that I don't look at medicine as one stagnant form of helping people. I look at it as always growing. We use the best of modern science, and we blend that with the best of Eastern-based philosophies, orthomolecular, functional medicine, naturopathic medicine, traditional naturopathy, nutritional biochemistry or bioregulatory medicine, traditional Chinese medicine, herbalism. We Eastern-based philosophy, I didn't already mention that, and we bring everything together. You have to work on the whole person. Well, this is a beautiful book by Carl Greer, and I looked up in my notes. I thought I gave this to you before, but it turns out that I did not. So it's called Change the Story of Your Health Using Shamanic, or some people say Shamanic, and Jungian techniques for healing. So I'm a huge fan of Carl Jung. So it's actually Jungian techniques for healing. Carl Jung is one of my favorite psychologists, brilliant minds, thinkers out there. And of course, no longer with us today, but love reading his work. And that's because I love psychology and I love the mind. A big advocate and proponent of his work today is Dr. Jordan Peterson, and quotes him quite often. Well, I found this book by accident, which some of my favorite reads are by accident, when I was looking up Carl Jung's books and maybe some books that I haven't read of his that I may have missed. And this was written in 2017, so very, very recent. I think I just probably got my hands on it maybe up to a year ago maximum. And it looks at beginning to get more in touch with yourself and understanding that the mind and your psychology plays a very large part in your physiology. And you have to understand how you have to break the cycle of certain thoughts that you're not even aware of that are holding you back in life. Now, I talk about these quite often on Motivation and Mindset Mondays. But this book looks at it in a new way, and in probably a little bit more of a playful way. It's asking you to literally become more self-aware, to ask your physiology, yourself, questions. Trying to figure out what is it that makes you tick. It's a beautiful book into exploring the depths of what might be holding you back from why you aren't healthy besides the physical. Because the mental has such a huge and larger part to it. I'll be bringing more of these books to you in the future, since I know many people want more of this type of work. So this is by Dr. Greer. It's Dr. Carl Greer. And I don't know what type of Dr. Carl Greer is, but I'm sure you can read about it in his bio. I'll see if I can find it quickly here, and I can't. But anyway, short book, 200 pages, worth the read if you're dealing with health-based issues that you can't seem to overcome and also don't have a positive outlook on. All right, those are my reviews. I did say I have a bunch of things coming. I've been testing out the Aura Ring, so I'll be telling you more about that in about a week or two after I've given it a good almost 2 months of usage and enjoying that. And then I had to tell you this. I have to just give this to you. So last week was 4th of July weekend. Amazing time, friends and family. I had 4 different natural bug sprays. And I know this is kind of an aside, but I've been giving you always my best, right? I'll tell you right now, hands down, out of all the natural bug sprays I've used, Herbal Armor is still number one, and it's not even close, in my opinion. I have no stake in that company. I mean, it's what, like $7 a bottle? It's not inexpensive. This is the same product and formula I've been using since I was doing my internships in Sri Lanka and India back in the day. I used that when I knew that there was mosquitoes there carrying malaria and other diseases. So it always worked for me. It's clinically proven to last and be 99.999% effective for up to 3 hours. So great product. I'll link up to it today. Just go to stevencabral.com/1253. I just like to give great products a shout out, and that's a great product. All right. Next up, and I'm just going to give you some research, and we'll go over those lab results. All right. So this has been now a couple years in the making, and they've been using it for healing other parts of the body. I remember a decade ago, a client telling me they were doing some what's called plasma-rich platelet or platelet-rich plasma. That was it. PRP, platelet-rich plasma. So they essentially would do a blood draw. They would spin the blood. They would get a very platelet-rich plasma out of it, so really get the most concentrated form. And they would inject it back into the place that needed greater healing. That might be a knee injury that you're rehabbing from, elbow, etc. So I had one client do it for a knee injury. These are professional athletes, and one doing it for tennis elbow. So, or epicondylitis, if you want to give a more specific term for it. And they did multiple treatments, and after about 6 to 8 weeks, phenomenally better. So I started working back then, and then the hair loss industry started to use it. And what they did is they actually took the same PRP, so the platelet-rich plasma therapy, and they injected it into the scalp. And what they found was the own natural hair began to regrow, especially if someone did it within an earlier onset, typically 5 years of when they started to lose their hair. And this allowed then the follicles to strengthen and the hair to get more blood flow, more circulation. So what they found was, and I'll see if I can find the study, but for sure I can name it for you now. The treatments are typically done for 3 months, sometimes 4 months, up to 6, but it is costly. So that's the only thing right now is that PRP is costly. I don't know how much it will cost in your local area, but it's in the thousands because it's not covered by health insurance to my knowledge. So I don't know anyone that has done this yet, but I did read the research on it. It makes complete sense to me. And obviously you'll want to work with some type of practitioner doing this that has gotten great results, right? That'll be part of your due diligence and research. But I'll show you, this is by Dr. Hausauer, a medical doctor, and they are a doctor of plastic surgery and dermatology, and the lead author of a study published in Dermatological Surgery called Aesthetics. And that is AESTHETX.com. So I'll link that up for you, and you can check it out if that's something that interests you, friends, or family. Okay. But again, keep in mind, always go back to, and we've done shows in this, the reasons for hair loss in the first place. Look at the higher levels of cortisol stress. Look at the lower thyroid. Look at the lower nutrients. And then, even something like just doing the daily foundational protocol, level 1, 2, or 3, ideally level 2 or 3. The enzymes so you can digest more nutrients out of your food as well. Because your hair grows with nutrients. It's so important. And then adding on something like our beauty bundle, which is your zinc and copper, super important for the hair, vitamin C, and then your 3 patented delivery systems of collagen with the advanced collagen support. All of those things help with hair regrowth. And we have great success stories from that alone as well. So anyway, first place to start too. All right, last part today is our lab results, and I wanted to go over with you this. A lot of people don't know, but it's a nice little hidden gem that on the food sensitivity test, the IgG food sensitivity test, it actually gives you an additional statistic, an additional data point called Candida albicans. Now, Candida albicans is more of the most common and most proliferative. I don't even know if that's a word, but we'll go with it for right now. The largest amount of Candida of that species in the gut. So what the lab does is it looks for IgG sensitivities, which means a delayed response to 93 certain foods. So it will look at your, let's say you don't get bloating or you don't feel bad from eating gluten or eggs or dairy or whatever it might be, apricots, right? So you eat those, you don't get bloating, you don't feel anything. But what happens is they cause inflammation over time if you have an IgG, which is immunoglobulin, which is simply an immune cell that has been programmed to go after that specific protein in that food. So remember, it's not the sugars, it's not the fats, it's the protein we're looking at. Well, we can also look at the immune cells in their response to Candida albicans. It's not my favorite test for Candida. Now, my favorite test is the 9 markers we look at, which is 9 times we can look at it on the organic acids test. That's my favorite for Candida overgrowth and Clostridia overgrowth. But this test will actually show you insignificant, low, moderate, or high sensitivity to Candida albicans. Remember, that's not a food that you're eating. What it is your immune system programmed, targeted to go after Candida albicans, Candida overgrowth. And if it is, oftentimes that's because of either increased intestinal permeability, aka leaky gut, or a Candida overgrowth. Okay? It could be because of either of those. There's other possible reasons, but that's one of the main things. We see it after antibiotic use, even if it's years later. And we can see it after a poor diet, Advil, tap water, anything that will allow for bacteria to be moved and washed away, as well as then leaving the space for Candida overgrowth. So it's a great test. It will actually show you your sensitivity from your white blood cells and how hard they are literally going after, how deeply programmed they are to go after that Candida albicans. It's also one that's nice when we clear it up. It does take a little while for an IgG immune cell to become desensitized, but about 6 months later, we can begin to see that decline, which is fantastic after getting rid of that Candida overgrowth with something like our CBO protocol, etc. So hopefully that was a nice little tidbit. If you are running that food sensitivity test over at equilibriumnutrition.com, you'll be able to see that as well. Thank you so much for tuning into today's podcast. I appreciate you. And of course, if this was helpful, please do feel free to pass it along to anyone else you believe it could serve. Before you go, I wanted to share a personal story with you. The real reason I began to get well finally is because I figured out what was wrong with me. And that might seem pretty obvious, but I went from doctor to doctor for over 2 years before discovering at-home functional medicine lab testing. These are the labs that enabled me to finally figure out what was wrong with my hormones, blood sugar, electrolytes, and gut health. And once I knew what was wrong, I could then follow a proven plan in order to rebalance my body from the inside out. This is why I believe so strongly in functional medicine lab testing and why I've made it my mission to share these labs with the world. Now at equa.life, you can order an at-home lab test or a lab bundle for you and your family and be able to complete it within the week. Plus, the EquaLife difference is that you're not left to try to read and figure out these labs on your own. We explain what your lab numbers mean, what they mean in the much bigger picture, and then how to go about rebalancing your body in order to heal. To see our full selection of lab tests or to set up a free lab selection call to find out what labs may be best for you, simply head on over to equa.life/labs. And do remember, we ship these all over the world. To find out more and to set up your free lab selection call, simply head on over to equa.life/labs. That's EQUI.LIFE/labs.